4, 3, 2, 1.
This week we introduce an initiate of Sangomahood and who is currently an inyanga, a traditional healer. We explore his profession and he tells us more about what it means to be a sangoma, what is an inyanga, and what do African traditional healers actually do in the community. Stay tuned for more.
Isangoma, inyanga, ugogo, the African traditional healer. Across the world, we all have different ways of conceptualizing healing. Whenever someone has different ailments, we approach the healing process in different ways. Whether you run down to your local pharmacy or drugstore, or you've got herbs in your back garden and you are a homeopath, or you consult your mother and your mother has home remedies that she administers or suggests to you toward your healing. Whatever you do, as long as you find your own way that is unique to how you wish to go through your journey of healing. We don't all come from the same place. We don't all live out our lives in exactly the same way. And so in our diversities, we need to be open-minded in understanding we are all different. In our differences, there is beauty in our uniqueness. This week, we explore a conversation with a traditional healer, someone who's already been through this process and is currently initiating other individuals. He's already initiating some trainees and initiates into the journey of Sangomahood.
You have Sangomas, you have Inyangas, you have Abatandas. Abatandas are prophets, they are usually Christians, and they mainly use water. They pray for you and things like salt to help people. Inyangas are herbalists. They are purely herbalists. They mix herbs, plants, animals, and they make muti, medicine, that will be able to help their patients. This muti, they are taught, most of them through dreams by their ancestors. Your ancestors, they come to you through dreams, they communicate with you, they teach you muti. Other mutis you learn, you are taught by more experienced herbalists throughout the years. And what's important is that when it comes to a calling, some things come naturally. Sometimes you wake up and you know that if I mix this plant and this root and this oil, I would be able to make medicine that will be able to help with this type of problem or this type of disease. We also have Sangomas, highly respected healers within our continent, especially to us as Africans. Sangomas are able to diagnose people. They prescribe how you should get help with whatever problem you have. They can perform rituals such as cleansing, and they get patients who have a lot of different problems, from physical illnesses, mental illnesses, emotional problems, spiritual problems, and they are able to help them with all these vast different problems. Sangomas are very unique people. In fact, each Sangoma is unique in its own way. People tend to get confused. You get a female Sangoma sometimes who will have a deep voice, a male voice that would be referred to as Mkhulu Bani. The term Umkhulu comes from the dominant ancestor, because Sangomas are possessed by their ancestors who used to live, and they are now have now passed on. So they come back and they possess you. So whenever that happens, there is the dominant person within you, within those ancestors, who will possess you. So if that person is male, whether you are female or whether you are male, you will be referred to as umkhulu. Hence, you get sangomas who are female but have deep voices like men. If the dominant person or dominant ancestor within you is a female, whether you are male or female sangoma, you would be referred to as ugogo ubani. So meaning the dominant ancestor within you is female. So that's why you are referred to as gogo, even if you are male. So sangomas also use, during the process of diagnosing you, they use candles, they use bones, they use a whole lot of different aids to help them to diagnose people with the different problems that they have. Another question that may arise is that why do they burp a lot? It's because of the spirits, the ancestral spirits that tend to be within them. So you get those gases inside you, and you, from time to time, you need to release them. Going into the initiation process, what we need to know is that each initiate is unique. No two initiates are the same. Hence, there is no stipulated time for the initiation process. It can be anything from roughly 5 months to maybe 9 months, and so on. It all depends on the type of person you are, your ancestors, how long you take to connect with your ancestors. Now, during the initiation process, you get given spiritual guidance by the person whom we refer to as Ugobela. And Ugobela is an experienced sangoma who has gone through the initiation process and finished it, and is now performing rituals, healing people, and also has his or her own initiates, which he is mentoring. To be able to realize if you have these powers or you are possessed by these ancestors and you should become an initiate, there are a lot of different ways in which this thing will show itself. Some people usually you get excited, maybe you're going on vacation and you start doing those countdowns from 21 days, 19. That is also one of the signs. If you're a person who likes doing countdowns to a certain event or certain date, some people become moody, they have mood swings. The 1 minute they are happy, the next they are sad, and the other minute they are angry. They don't like crowded places. They tend to self-isolate. They avoid people, they avoid friends. And normally, also, if you're a person who doesn't like things like your phone, sometimes you just don't want to talk to your phone, don't want to answer your calls, you just put the phone on the side and you want peace, or you switch off your phone. Some people have visual hallucinations. They see things that other normal people can't. Even if you tell them that I can see this, I can see a snake, I can see this person, other people will look at you and they will think that there's something wrong with you, because you are telling them you are seeing things that they can't see, that normal people cannot see. There are a lot of other different ways. Maybe you tend to have bad luck, you lose money, your things are not going well in your marriage. And also, still on the initiation process, you can see Amatwasa, usually they wear plain clothing. Could be either red clothing or red cloths, or white cloths. Then gradually as time goes on, you get to wear cloths that have cow skin, that have plants, or that has animal heads on them. It all goes with the process, because to distinguish between the initiates and the sangomas, there's abo kobela. Kobela are the sangomas who have completed the training, and they have their own initiates now. Abo kobela, you can see them because their clothes are black. They have black with animal heads or plants or other natural things like the sun or the moon, etc. During the initiation process, it is where the initiate learns or tends to connect more with the ancestors. The ancestors would come to you, sometimes through dreams. They will give you instructions. Some of the instructions you will get from the person who is teaching you, or ukobela wako, your mentor. Now, when these ancestors come to you, maybe through dreams, you get to have conversations with them. When they give you instructions, they teach you herbs, and they tell you maybe what types, what colored beads they need from you to wear, what clothes they need from you, and also when and how to go about the initiation process. Now, to clarify more on ancestors. Ancestors are the living dead. They are members of your family who have passed on, and they act as mediators between yourself and God. It could be people whom passed on during the time you were alive. You might know some of them might be great grandfathers or great grandmothers, but you get to learn to communicate with them. If you see them, you can be able to distinguish that, okay, this was my grandmother, this was my grandfather, this was my aunt, this was my uncle. like I said, some of them might have passed on during the time that you were alive. Some might have passed on long before you were born. So they come back and they possess you, and they require certain rituals. They give you instructions, and they also help you during your initiation process. What people need to understand or need to know is that going initiation is not something that is, it's not an easy process, but it all depends on the type of person you are. You get to be isolated from your loved ones, from your family, from your friends. There are things that you cannot do. There are things that you are not allowed to be associated with. But when you go there for the first time in your beginning stages, your Kobela sits with you. They tell you, or the older Sangomas who are more experienced, they also guide you throughout your process. They tell you that this is allowed, this isn't allowed, this is what you must do, this is what you mustn't do. And that your path will all be initiated by yourself. How quick you will be, how quick you will complete the process, how easy the process will be, will all depend on you, because you need to give yourself fully into this process. You need to familiarize yourself. You need to be able to want to learn, and you should be willing to learn. So an initiate or a sangoma, you can also distinguish them and be able to tell what type of sangomas they are, because there are also different types of sangomas. You can be able to tell where or which part of South Africa or which part of Africa they were trained in. Usually by how they talk, how they greet, how they respond, the songs, how they dance. Now, coming into the question where I have to tell you a bit about myself. I have been going initiation for quite a few months now. I haven't completed. I'm practicing as a traditional healer. So I do perform rituals, I do heal people, I do have initiates. What you need to know is that our gifts are not the same. There are those lucky people who get to become abokobela, who get to have initiates of their own while they themselves are still going the process of initiation. So it doesn't always happen, but for those lucky people it does. It all depends on your ancestors, how much powers they give you, and what do they require from you. So I guess I was one of the lucky ones, or one of the chosen ones. So I do have other traditional healers that I do work in conjunction with, I have a working relationship with, because it's very important to keep to have just a small circle of people whom you can help each other, exchange ideas, get help from, whereas you can also yourself return the favor. So I do have a few people whom I have a good working relationship with, which makes things much easier. You can also consult. It's easier if you have people whom you trust and you can work with. What I've realized is that society is still skeptical sometimes with being associated with these traditional healers. People sometimes are ashamed to speak about them or to tell other people that they've been to them. They'd rather keep it within themselves. But gradually, it's getting better from the olden days, because as you can see, even traditional healers, they are getting younger and younger now. You have sangomas who are very young, some very educated, highly respected in their professions. But the community still needs to appreciate them more, I feel. And they still need to be taught, or they still need to teach themselves to be able to appreciate the traditional healers that we have, because it is something that our forefathers, our great-grandfathers have been living with. This type of healers, these types of healers, the traditional medicines, is what kept them going, is what they made them better throughout the years. And also we need to be able to distinguish when we have different kinds of sicknesses, or we have different kinds of problems that we need help with. We need to be able to distinguish that this type of sickness needs the Western way or the Western medicine, and this other type of sickness requires the traditional or the African way of healing. So I think once we manage to find a common ground, or once we are able to distinguish between all those things, society will be able to function better. But what I need to stress more is that when it comes to ancestors, they want to be first in everything that you do. When they possess you, you are required to put them first above everything, above your kids, above your family, above your partner, your work, your everything. They don't want to come second. They don't want to come after another thing. They should be first. So you should put them first. You should learn to prioritize them. Hence, if you are dating a person with this calling or this gift, you need to be a brave person. You need to be very patient and understanding. The government, I believe, still needs to do a lot in appreciating traditional healers. and also finding a common ground and establishing a good working relationship between the government, the Western way of healing, and the African traditional way of healing. There are associations like the Traditional Healers Association. There are other organizations who prescribe regulations. They hold workshops, trainings, they provide guidances to traditional healers, and they are sort of like the umbrella to all the traditional healers. Hence, they also check if these regulations are adhered to by our healers. Taking into consideration that we as Africans are slowly losing ourselves. We are losing our Africanity, our beliefs, our traditions, which is why we have a problem as traditional healers. And I would like to thank you, Sia, as the host, for giving me this opportunity and allowing me to take part in this interview, being able to clarify on certain issues, even though this topic is a very vast topic. We can sit for days discussing it. But nevertheless, I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to take part, for inviting me. I appreciate you. I appreciate the work you do for the society.
Okay. Thank you for watching the SBWL Show. This week we covered African traditional healers. I trust that the discussion with the traditional healer, Makhosi himself, was insightful. That this week you walk away knowing a little bit more about African traditional faiths and what it means to be a healer. And maybe even consult a sangoma or inyanga in your area. Why not? Anyway, before you go, please don't forget, do like, subscribe, share, and comment with your networks. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. As always, SBWL, see you soon.
Do join the SBWL Facebook group. The links are available in the description. Inside the group, you'd be privy to whatever happens on the show, additional material, promotional material, and also background interviews.